Professional wrestling is the one true sport. Other sports have their share of intense, dramatic moments, but nothing can compare with professional wrestling. Welcome to Wrestling History X, where three friends come together to talk about the stories behind the matches. I'm Matt.
I'm a friend with friends.
And I am Bob Chandler.
Welcome to episode 169, Halloween Havoc 1995.
There's nowhere to hide.
Sometimes I wish there was.
Yeah.
And maybe in the lake next to a roof.
Yeah. Lake next to a roof, on a ledge.
Inside
Just
the
below the
tire
roof.
of a monster truck.
Maybe the parking lot. We'll find out, maybe. But this was the 7th annual Halloween Havoc produced by WCW. It would take place on October 29th, 1995 at the Joe Louis Arena in Detroit, Michigan, with an attendance of 13,000 people.
I know that there's no great Halloween Havocs. And I remember there was a trend where it was like, well, this one was okay. And then that one was like really bad. I don't know where we left off. I don't know that we need to know where we left off. But we do know we're back at Halloween Havoc. So, you know, the bar is low.
The bar is very low for Halloween Havoc.
Yes. It's
Such a
tradition.
name. I know. Everybody's in a diabetic coma, I guess.
No,
I mean, I guess they're not even there yet. This is pre-Halloween.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have no excuses.
They've got a big red and orange excuse.
yeah, candy
Red
corn
and orange,
himself.
red and yellow.
Everyone's least favorite candy.
Yeah.
But we are back in Michigan.
We are. It's like 2 weeks in a row, isn't it? Or almost.
Was it 2 weeks in a row? It was at
Can't
least
remember.
twice in the
Yeah.
last 3 weeks or so.
Yeah,
We were in
no,
Canada last week.
That's right. Canada was last week. There was a Michigan one before that.
Yeah.
It's like the home of Motown, but not Motown Philly. That bit has been retired. I take
Back
it back.
again.
I take it back. We're bringing it back.
That's right.
We're in Philly enough.
It's never going to go away.
I feel like we let it go for like maybe 6 episodes.
Yeah.
But we're not in Philly.
No, we are not. We are in Detroit. Yeah. We're in Detroit. I made I won't say mistake because it was delicious, but I brought Detroit-style pizza a couple episodes ago, not realizing that we were going to actually be in Detroit. So I came up with something different because, that's what we do. We wing it and figure out what the fuck people eat other places. So I looked up what is a sandwich exclusive to Detroit. And it took me a few because at first the first list that I found told me that there was no signature sandwich for Detroit. That they just like lots of food. They mentioned something about muffaladas and Italian subs and cheesesteaks, and like we've already had a couple of those from different places that weren't Detroit. So I went a little deeper in my dive and discovered a sandwich that I don't know. It's different. It jumped out at me.
I mean, the name alone jumps out at you.
Exactly. It's not electric, but it is a boogaloo. It is a boogaloo wonderland. It dates back to the 1960s. It can be found today at Chef Greg's Soul in the Wall. Motown, it's known for coney dogs and other saucy sandwiches, but this one is part of the history.
It's like sandwiches with attitude.
Yes. Saucy, sassy, slap your mama. The classic boogaloo sandwich is seasoned ground beef, caramelized onions, melted cheese, and the famous boogaloo sauce, all on a toasted 8-inch bun.
What is the boogaloo sauce?
Boogaloo
I'm
sauce.
Very curious about this.
I made it myself actually. It's kind of like a play on barbecue sauce in a way, I guess. It's ketchup, a little apple cider vinegar, some Worcestershire. There's a little bit of garlic, some thyme, salt and pepper, chili powder, and something else in there that's not coming to mind. Dried mustard. That's what it was.
Yeah, it was kind of like a sweeter sloppy Joe sauce.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was definitely pretty sweet.
All in all, the sandwich, that's kind of what it reminds me of. It's like if you took a Philly cheesesteak and a sloppy Joe and you just mixed it all together real fast, minus the Cheese Whiz Add a little American cheese. Yeah.
Sloppy chopped cheese, no.
Sloppy Mo, since it's Motown.
Yeah, there's Sloppy Mo. Why not?
The sandwich is definitely not scary.
No,
it
it's
was
not scary.
It was
honestly,
good.
it wasn't
I was
really
also
that
very
sloppy
hungry.
either.
No, that 8-inch bun holds it all together.
Yeah, it. I whipped it up here just before the show, so
it's also a perfect like drunk food.
Yes, I have a feeling this would do,
that'll
do really good at
sop
night.
some of it up.
Soak up some beer, some whiskey, some something. But yeah, beef, onion, cheese, sauce, bread. I mean, that's basically all you ask for when it comes to a sandwich. So I'm gonna take my bite on the air.
Will we get a crunch?
We will not on this one because the
toasted it, I think.
Yeah,
it was good.
the top on this one isn't as toasty, but
it's not like a Cuban.
Yeah,
although that wouldn't be a bad thing to do with it.
Let's get to listen to me take a bite with my muscle.
There you go.
All right.
I was gonna say boogaloo, and I was like, that doesn't make any sense, but I did it anyway.
Wonderland.
There you go. I wonder where they get the Wonderland part.
That I don't know.
It's a treat to your mouth.
I'm like, I can probably search through here and see if it says where the Wonderland part came from, but
who knows?
That's just stuff I have to edit out.
Exactly.
So something that would happen right around the same time as Halloween Havoc, Smashing Pumpkins would release their third album, Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness, with songs such as Bullet with Butterfly Wings, 1979, and Tonight Tonight.
I mean, 3 of their biggest hits, 3 of the greatest music videos of the 90s. Honestly, all 3 of these music videos are incredible.
I was more of a fan of the videos back in the day than I were the songs. They grew on me over time, but at this time it was just like, all right, just shut up already, Billy.
I mean, a lot of people have a hard time with his voice. Yep. I like it, but I understand why people would find it grating.
Yeah.
But I think that when it's nice, it's really nice. Mm-hmm. Of these 3 songs, what's your favorite, Matt?
1979.
Shane?
I mean, Tonight's the one that sticks in my head the most.
Yeah, I like all 3 of the songs. I think 1979 is the best of the 3. What a tune. And of all the music videos, what's your favorite?
I honestly don't remember the music videos of... So
okay, Tonight's
I'm
like
probably not the person to ask on that one.
Expressionist pop-up booky one.
Okay, that's the one that I'm thinking of.
Okay, Tonight or 1979 is the one where the kids are like running around partying and like TPing the house.
I mean, that's probably the one that I remember the most.
Yeah, it's hard to pick a favorite. I mean, those are the 2 best.
I was trying to figure out a way to describe it because it was like I'm picturing almost, obviously not South Park, but just like paper cutouts and stuff moving across the screen or something.
Yeah,
so
it's a very pretty dreamlike one, and then the other one's like pure nostalgia, but not that it's like emotional nostalgia as opposed to like remember this specific thing. It's just like, oh, you remember just being a dumb kid and running around and like toilet papering a house and laughing about it.
I remember those days.
Yeah, exactly. That's why that video hits so hard.
I only ever got to TP one house.
Yeah,
and it was Mr. Ludwig, one of our teachers. That was his deal every year. He just set out toilet paper outside his house because if you're gonna go and do something stupid here, just
do it here.
Do it here,
where I call the cops.
Exactly.
That was nice of him.
That's old Bernie was a badass. So
this reminds me of a funny story where on Halloween one night, me and 2 friends were like, oh, we'll smash a pumpkin because we were a little older, and then we got high on the adrenaline of smashing a pumpkin, and we smashed every single pumpkin in the neighborhood. And
wow,
somebody were probably not very happy about
it. Somebody eventually called the cops, and my friend, we were like hiding through like the like ditches in between the streets or whatever, like the water runoff. And my friend Daniel, who's still one of my longest and closest friends, he ran.
Do I need to put name redacted in there?
No, it's good.
Okay.
He ran straight to my house, so the car just followed into the house while we were like trying to dodge the car. Me and my friend Chase, I believe, and then we like went in my room and we're like, oh shit, and we were like, and then eventually a cop knocked on the door, and my poor mother, had to take us around, and we had to clean up all of the pumpkins. There was, I believe, 11 full, like the double, like thick black ones for like, fall like leaves. That's just like gigantic, like 50-gallon. 11 of them filled with pumpkin guts.
Good Lord.
we were idiots. It was
How
fun.
many fucking pumpkins do people have on their porch?
We did the whole neighborhood.
Well, did the whole neighborhood.
Yeah,
I know, but still.
I mean,
You can fit like 12 pumpkins in one trash bag.
Yeah, we did. I would say, okay, I would say 70 to 75% of the neighborhood, but it's a pretty large
Good
neighborhood.
grief.
And it was a neighborhood that had a lot of like kids in it, so like there was a lot of pumpkins. That's my smashing pumpkin story.
When's the last time either one of you have ever done a pumpkin for Halloween?
Probably like 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah, it's been about 5
I
or
like
6
carving
for
a
me.
pumpkin.
I mean, it's probably been a good 20 years, if not longer for me.
Yeah.
I carved them.
It was something that we just never did in my family.
Like, we did them every year, and then I did them for the longest time. If I knew I was going to be home on Halloween, if I wasn't going to be home, then I didn't worry about it because my thought was some dumbass kid in the neighborhood's probably going to pick it up and smash it when I don't answer his door or answer the door.
Sorry, Shane.
Don't tell Michael where you live.
Yeah, I only did it once.
But no, I did
We're
it a few years
typically good
ago for work because, like, I'm going to be here. Why not? We'll be a little bit festive. So, yeah, I cut up a couple and stuck them out front of the curve.
Yes, because carving a pumpkin's fun. You get the seeds, and you can just put on a movie you've seen a bunch of times.
Yep.
Like I think last time I did it, I put on a bunch of episodes of like Treehouse of Horror.
It's a good one.
Man,
Good
that's
old
all. That's
classic
all the way to go
Simpsons.
about it.
It was always my favorite episodes.
And they're great ones.
Yep. Simpsons, and then, Roseanne from back in the day.
I don't remember any of the
Fuck her
ones.
now, but yeah, that was kind of the Roseanne holiday each year was they went all out for Halloween.
That makes total sense.
Friends had Thanksgiving, everybody else had Christmas, Roseanne had Halloween.
Well, let's talk some Halloween Havoc. We
Okay.
get animation of a house and skulls transforming into highlights of our competitors with narration.
Motown's gone mad.
The giant has a Jones for destruction. His motorcycling, smashing, back cracking, bone crunching, neck choking rampage has opened a ghastly gate for a man who can't stay down. Now Hogan has turned to the dark side to face the dungeon of doom. We all shudder at the thought of their monster trucks.
Yep.
Someone might not survive. If they do, they will face each other in the ring.
Wow.
So you get the match and the rematch in one night?
Pretty much.
Pretty much.
All right.
Yeah, I didn't quite understand. I'm trying to remember back to this time too of why I know he smashed his motorcycle or whatever, but why the fuck do you bring
He did it with a monster truck.
truck?
I mean, probably
Yeah, I guess
cross
those were big
promotion.
back
Monster
then, too,
trucks
at
are
that time.
big. I'm sure they probably had a deal
Bigfoot
too.
was huge, so they just
Yeah.
WCW's getting into promotion and
And
that.
my assumption is that this Hulk
very
Hogan
southern.
monster truck probably either already existed or it went on the road after this for a
it
while.
went on the road afterward
because it is very
our gentleman that we meet
hilarious.
later actually built both of these trucks.
Yeah, yeah.
That we'll see.
But yeah, it's like, oh, they didn't do
Obama.
that just for this. Like that is way too much of a like crazy job. I mean, granted, yeah, outside of a monster truck is just plastic, but still, that's still a huge job. That was not cheap to make a crazy. Look it up, guys. It looks insane.
Tony Schiavone then welcomes us to the show, joined by Bobby the Brain Heenan for commentary. And the smoke from the pyro is so bad that you can't even see the crowd behind them momentarily.
You got to beef it up to make it spooky.
And we're told that Hulk has arrived in his monster truck, making the whole building shake. And we then see footage of the two monster trucks charging at each other with our competitors at the wheel.
Bum bum bum.
Charging. And then going backwards. And then charging and going backwards.
Yeah.
I wonder if they were actually driving.
I will
we
tell
cover
you
that
that
later?
they are not.
I didn't figure so.
I'll just go
but
ahead and throw the spoilers. If you
I'm pretty sure I saw the same clip
there,
of Hogan shifting.
there are two people in the passenger seats of the trucks that are actually driving the cars.
Okay. Gotcha.
Tony then also tells us that Arn Anderson and Brian Pillman have attacked Ric Flair in the back. So their tag match might be in jeopardy.
Son of a bitch.
Schiavone then asks about Bobby eating sushi. I didn't quite get where he was going with this.
Maybe Bobby's in Japan.
I'm trying to remember.
That doesn't seem like it makes much sense.
I think it had something to do with his breath or something. I don't know.
I have no clue.
Tony at this time kind of has that. I mean, kind of through the whole show has that whatever attitude. But
then Tony sends us to a video package.
I wish I was eating sushi with Bobby Eaton.
Where we're at a WCW Saturday night where Johnny B. Bad was supposed to face Sting for the U.S. title. So remember, Johnny B. Bad won the number one competitor.
In a very good match.
And this was where he was supposed to get his title shot. But when it came time for him to come out, Bad was nowhere to be found. Later in the program, they try and have the match again. But he still wasn't there. So they give the match to Flyin Brian. And Sting would win that match. Johnny would finally show up at the very end of the episode, explaining that he had a flat tire. AAA, man.
Dude.
I know. It's just one flat tire. And there's no way you didn't have a spare.
Exactly. DDP and his crew show up to mock Bad for missing his opportunity. Yeah. Paige basically...
Hey, you are stupid.
Basically saying it should have been him that got the title shot, which I'm just like, you weren't in the match.
Yeah. It went to the other guy in the match, so it worked out how it was supposed to, I guess.
Max Muscle then laughs about Johnny having 4 flat tires. When Bad is all like, how did you know it was all 4 tires? And then he punches Paige square in the jaw.
Oh, what a punch!
Because he knows what happened.
That's right.
I mean, it was very Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
They were just missing a mask. But, the silly reveal.
He would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for that Max Muscle.
that pesky Maxx.
That leads us right into our first match. Diamond Dallas Page with the Diamond Doll and Max Muscle versus Johnny B. Bad for the WCW Television Championship.
DDP's looking for heat. He comes out with a Bad Blaster.
Well, he stole it.
He's a thief.
But he also came out first. Foreshadowing.
So did he steal it when they slashed the tires, or did he steal it sooner than
Well, he attacked Johnny during a different episode of WCW Saturday Night, which had upset Kimberly, who was getting tired of Paige's attitude.
I mean, he seems pretty obnoxious to hang out with regularly.
Yep.
Pretty much.
He's got no chill.
Bad then enters the arena, walking backwards, stretching his cape out so everyone can see what it says. But it's a decoy, as Johnny jumps the guardrail to attack DDP from behind with right hands and a knee lift before throwing him out to the floor.
I know, I was like, that's not Johnny B. Bad. And then I was like, what is this angle? And the angle was, well, he was just going to Pearl Harbor him. I wonder who it was.
I don't know for certain.
It's not very important.
But I wouldn't be surprised if it's probably an Armstrong.
Oh, yeah. Makes sense. Somebody with a tan and dark hair.
Bring back Z-Man for one quick moment.
I miss him.
Like, we need you to come back for Halloween and dress up like Johnny.
Yeah, I miss him.
Bad follows out to the floor where he has to fend off Muscle, nailing him and Paige with a double noggin knocker before DDP is punched out into the crowd. Back at ringside, Johnny has grabbed a bucket that happened to be sitting underneath someone's chair.
Is the hog here?
Right. Placing it on Paige's head and ramming him into the ring post.
Posted.
Back in the ring, Bad slows it down with arm holds and takedowns before hitting a drop kick and going for a 10 count of punches in the corner, only for DDP to drop Johnny face first on the turnbuckle to escape. Paige starts to work over Bad with elbows, knee drops, and a back suplex, which he forces the Diamond Doll to give him a 10 for.
She's not very happy about putting these 10s
she's
up.
not.
She's slow playing the 10s, because they're probably more like 8s.
Like, turn the card over and just have it be an 0-1.
Oh, nice.
DDP with a pancake for a 2 count before applying a chin lock to keep Johnny grounded. But he escapes to go for a backslide for a near fall. Sunset flip by Bad, only for Paige to stay up and punch down. Drop to his knees for a 2 count, followed by Johnny pulling him over for a near fall as well. DDP with a body slam for a 2 count, and he goes back to the chin lock, which Bad fights his way up, only for Muscle to give Paige some leverage to knock Johnny back down. DDP then starts yelling some orders at Maxx, which brings him up to the apron to distract the ref. allowing Page to choke Bad with some wrist tape. Johnny rallies back to his feet, nailing DDP with a desperation back suplex. But Page is back to his feet first, where Bad ducks a right hand, allowing him to hit several atomic drops, punches, and a flying head scissors. Bad continues with a top rope double axe handle, which gets a 10 from the Diamond Doll, but only a 2 count.
Too bad.
Doll could have been Sable if she just, could have left that dastardly Dallas Page.
Johnny delivers a sit-out powerbomb for a near fall, then goes for a hip toss, only for DDP to counter into a DDT. Page goes for the diamond cutter, but Bad blocks it by holding onto the ropes. He follows that up, going for another 10 count of punches in the corner again, when DDP lifts him up, only for Bad to head scissor Page out to the floor.
Bum, bum, bum. I love the hip toss DDT. It's a nice, clean spot.
Really cool.
Also, DDP, I don't know where it happened, but he's got a little bit of blood coming from around his eye. Organically. He didn't blade.
Johnny then fakes out DDP with a dive, instead delivering a somersault plancha before rolling Page back into the ring and hits a slingshot splash, completing the Bad day. Johnny looks to hit the Tutti Frutti when Muscle grabs him from behind, holding him, allowing DDP to charge in, but Bad moves, only for Page to stop in his tracks. But Johnny then drop kicks DDP, sending him into Maxx, rolling him up for the pin, and no, Page kicks out.
I love that DDP stops short, but then you get the drop kick. It's just like, that's, it's not a comedy spot, but it hits all the beats that, a 3-panel comic would. Like, oh no, this is just a good time.
Bad is then yanked out by his trunks, where Muscle goes for a bulldog, but he's shoved off into the ring post, where Maxx catches himself and climbs back up on the apron. Johnny's in the ring, and he turns to see Muscle, allowing Page to hold him for a clothesline from Maxx. But Bad moves, causing DDP to take the blow. Johnny then clotheslines Muscle before turning to make the cover on Page for the pin and the win. And new! I really thought DDP might have that belt for a little longer.
I thought he was going to have it a little bit, but then, if you're going to lose it because you took a clothesline,
yeah,
maybe you shouldn't have had it.
And they do the thing where it's like, yeah, he came out first, but at least it was like for the point of subversion or whatever. It's still silly, but it's typically telegraphs as we know here. The doll stuff's fun. It's a little bit long, but it was a solid match from the two guys.
Yeah, I'm not mad at the start to the show.
No. I mean, Johnny B. Bad, I know, I feel like I always hear people talk shit on him, but he does continuously get better, and people like him, and he's a pretty great place to put at the beginning of the show. DDP's not Brian Pillman,
No,
but he's he's decent character work, and
he's no renegade.
Solid heel with muscle, pun intended, and he's got a girlfriend who's kind of on the ropes, no pun intended.
Tony and Brain then discuss the monster trucks and the Giants' debut. And Shivani claims everyone knows that Hogan can drive, with Bobby kind of questioning that statement, which I'm much like,
yeah.
Does everyone know he can drive?
Sumo monster truck is an unknown for both men. It's like, yeah, and everyone else that's ever lived before.
Well, I mean, Hogan is a real American, truck. And I guess real Americans know how to drive a big truck. Sorry. He's American-made, just like his truck.
He was a real American. Now he's just American-made. And honestly, so are, a bunch of
us
vehicles from Detroit.
That's true.
Very true.
Rest in peace, Detroit.
Heenan also thinks that both trucks will just fall off the building and explode, which seems kind of dangerous.
I mean, yeah. Don't want to wish death on anybody, but the storyline involves the Giant and Hogan going away for a while.
We would be okay with that.
Yes.
We don't want to see him 6 feet deep. We don't want to wish death on anyone.
We don't need to, have him blow up in a limo or anything like that. No stupid tricks. Just go away.
We go to our second match, Zodiac versus Macho Man Randy Savage.
Oh, brother.
I love that Zodiac is from the land of yin and yang because he's wearing black and white, I guess.
Sure. So the story behind this match was that Macho Man and Lex Luger continued to have animosity after Fall Brawl. So Lex would put his career on the line, only to cheat to win. Sting would once again step in to make peace by suggesting that they both compete in matches on this show, and if they both win, they could face each other once again.
Poor Sting, the biggest babyface in this company and the longest running babyface in this company, and all he is just a hall monitor.
Yep.
He's just the mediator, and it's such a shame. I get so mad whenever I'm like, they just do Sting dirty constantly. Granted, the guy turned out just fine, but like, just never really gets his chance.
Oh, Randy.
And I bring it up too much, and I'm sorry.
If you only knew how much your hatred for Lex is going to grow.
Oh, man. Don't bum me out. Macho does come out with a honey. It is not Liz, of course, but this is his first WCW honey. I don't think it's for any reason outside of just an entrance. But
So this was actually, it wasn't originally Zodiac that was supposed to be in this match. It was originally supposed to be Kamala, but he had left the company over a contract dispute.
I mean,
He wanted a full-time contract and was only getting paid per appearance, that kind of thing. I mean, yeah, whatever.
yeah, I mean, we don't. All the best.
I think they say something about Kamala was supposed to be in the match.
to old Moonbelly, but him and Zodiac, it's like, well, whatever.
Kind of interchangeable. Mm-hmm. So Savage attacks from behind as soon as he is in the ring, smashing Zodiac's head into a turnbuckle, when all of a sudden there is some guy on the apron who jumps in the ring with Pee Wee Anderson tackling him. This was actually a drunk fan that jumped into the ring.
And the reason I could tell was because they kind of shy away from it on commentary, but the camera does not glorify it at all. So I was like, oh, this is a shoot. But, Macho and
security officials all come running down. They take him down. So while that's happening,
they brawl around.
Macho and Zodiac brawl out to the floor. It was not the original plan for this match.
Yeah, I mean, Macho Man is a professional, and, well, I guess Zodiac is too. They've been around long enough. They were around when this probably happened more often.
Yeah.
So
it probably happened in Memphis quite a few times back when Macho was there.
Yeah, I'd imagine so.
So while they're out on the floor, Savage slams Zodiac's head into the guardrail multiple times, only for Zodiac to return the favor by running Macho into the ring post.
Posted. I love that Bobby Heenan says, listen to the ovation, the ovation for Macho Man, and it's just the crowd's going nuts because they're like kicking this guy out. But, I'm sure Bobby got a kick out of that.
Back in the ring, Zodiac hits a body slam, comes off the second rope with a splash, only for Savage to move, and heads up top himself for the flying elbow, for the pin, and the win. Squash match.
I know, and it was like, was this supposed to be longer? I guess
no,
not.
It was not.
And the other thing is, it's like, well,
it probably actually went longer than it was supposed to.
It was quick and kind of, I mean, not pointless because obviously Macho Man is wrestling again later, but it wasn't as fun as G.I. Joe versus
Cobra
or whatever.
Sergeant
Yeah.
Craig Pittman.
Yeah, whatever. I couldn't remember the names. Anyway, not a prime Macho Man elbow, but if we're lucky, we'll see another one later tonight.
Yeah.
We get Mean Gene Okerlund in the locker room, and he says he overheard Jimmy Hart speaking with someone he used to manage in another federation. But he can't talk about it here, but call that WCW hotline to get the scoop.
Be right on it.
Wonder who it was. Trying to bring back Honky one more time.
You know what would be really funny? This is just a random thought. If there was a good amount of recordings from the WCW hotline that somebody just compiled into like a YouTube video or just a podcast or something, kind of like the same way that people do prank call compilations and stuff, but it's just like WCW hotline, just like some little kid. And I don't know if they were even on the phone or if it was, because I never called one, or if it was just like pre-recording. Yeah, exactly. So if I would be, it's not really any good if it's pre-recorded.
Mean Gene then brings in Johnny B. Bad, who speaks about overcoming adversity. If you believe, you can achieve. Dreams come true.
He says a lot of nothing. He says, I never gave up. It's like, well, you never said you did.
Johnny then screams he's a bad man and starts to leave. But Okerlund brings him back to see if he wants to get some Greek food with him, and that he would even sing Tutti Frutti at karaoke.
Love to see that.
I was just like,
You brought it back here for
did all
that?
of a sudden Okerlund get a thing in his ear going,
We need
5
5
more
more
we
minutes.
need 10 more seconds, guys. 10 more seconds. Like, what?
I mean, it has to be that.
Tony then sends us to some video footage where we see at Clash of the Champions 30, Sting and Road Warrior Hawk had defeated Meng and Kurasawa. But after the match, Kurasawa would break Hawk's arm.
No.
I mean, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Broken wing, or what was it again? Bullet in a broken wing, or
Bullet with butterfly wing.
Butterfly wing. Damn it.
Mm-hmm.
Got it wrong.
It's all good.
So
There
we
was a
go-
bullet in his butterfly wing.
So that leads us right into our third match. Kurasawa with Colonel Robert Parker versus Road Warrior Hawk.
I know, it's like Kurasawa. It's like the guy was just like, well, I mean, I'll just take the last name of the most famous Japanese director. I was like, oh, yeah, I don't know who this guy is.
And I'm more thinking, okay, so Robert Parker went from a bunch of good old boys to Meng and then Kurasawa. I mean, he's at least making his way, I think, in the right direction. But
Yeah, I don't know. It's
So the last time we saw Kurasawa
from island to island.
was at Battle 7, episode 140, as Manabu Nakanishi,
That's Nakanishi, and I didn't notice.
wow.
who's on excursion with WCW at this time.
Does it look like Nakanishi? Or
I mean,
I'm
it
just-
does.
It does. It's just hard for
Because
me
it
to
I
see.
don't
is
remember.
him.
Yeah, I know.
I don't remember
but-
what Nakanishi looked like, so I'm going to say yes. Just maybe the hair is different, or he's got different
I mean, he's
trunks.
grown the hair out a little bit. He's a little bit beefier than last time we saw him. Plus, he's not wearing just his Young Lion trunks and stuff, so...
Yeah, I'm used to old man Nakanishi from getting into New Japan in the last few years. Plus, he's been retired for a little while.
So the match gets going as Hawk goes right after Kurasawa with forearms, a shoulder tackle, and a neck breaker, following up with chops and kicks before growling at him, which Heenan just says sounds like a fat girl sitting on a beanbag.
Okay.
I mean, that's the thing you can say. I almost use it as my name. I'm a fat guy on a beanbag.
Road Warrior then misses a corner charge, but when Kurasawa grabs the arm, Hawk just pulls it away, picking him up with a gut-wrench suplex and a powerbomb.
Way to sell the arm, Hawk.
Right? Hawk goes to run the ropes, only for Parker to trip him up, allowing Kurasawa to hit a body slam, but he misses a top rope elbow drop.
I mean, like 7 years of no selling from the
Just-
beginning of your
just
career
7 years?
to what? Yeah, I mean, it's basically a decade of no selling on top before your star fades. And he didn't really have to learn, and he didn't.
Oh, what a rush.
Oh, what a rush!
The Road Warrior clotheslines Kurasawa out to the floor and then leaps off the apron with a flying clothesline onto the Colonel. Kurasawa uses the momentary distraction to ram Hawk into the ring post before rolling him back into the ring to deliver a back body drop and a Samoan drop, making a cover with leverage as Parker holds his feet for the pin and the win.
And how the Hawk has fallen.
I was like, is this like the first time we've ever seen Road Warrior Hawk actually get pinned?
It's the first time that it really hit, that I know that it hit me where I was like, what?
Yeah. At least that emotion, yes, was completely true.
Yeah, I was like, ooh, yeah, there's big boos for sure. I mean, it's a good way to get people to boo, but it's like, how long is Kurasawa going to be here that he's going to be healed up?
We go to the locker room again with Mean Gene, who's there with Randy Savage pacing the floor. And Oakland explains the situation with Luger. And Macho Man says, it's one down, one to go, even joking about the audience participation. Savage then calls out Hogan for comments he made about him. And when Mean Gene goes to ask a question, Macho just yells, your mustache is crooked, which hurts Okerlund's feelings, so he responds with a, your beard is out of line. Neither seems to know how they got to this point.
I mean, Macho Man almost breaks, which never happens. It's pretty cute.
That's when you just throw your hands up and like, I'm not talking.
But they refocus back to Lex momentarily before talking monster trucks. And Savage says, "My curiosity is killing me, just like a cat would be killed by the curiosity."
Macho Man is on fire in like one of his least remarkable promos, but it is so charming. Him and Okerlund are just having a blast.
He follows that up with friendship is friendship and business is business. And Hogan drew the line in the sand. He's just following it.
Macho Man had nothing to say, and it was still incredible.
Yep. I'm trying to remember what the hell Hogan had said.
That I don't remember. I
He made some comments, but...
Has he ever said anything?
No.
Probably not.
I mean, you can find some audio and video recording of him saying some interesting things, but, you know, they don't involve wrestling.
No.
So we go to our fourth match. Mr. JL versus Sabu with the original Shiek.
I mean, Sheik's hometown. He kind of had almost the first, like, big outlaw promotion because he only put himself over and nobody wanted to work there after he just killed his own territory. But that's a different story that's worth looking up.
So Mr. JL is Jerry Lynn.
Oh, I was wondering who it was. I believe, our good friend Bobby Heenan says he's a jerk at lunch, which is the kind of nonsense we love him for.
But Jerry Lynn is a hardcore Hall of Famer.
Is that the only Hall of Fame?
That is the only Hall of Fame.
You're a Jerry Lynn guy.
Other than he's a Hall of Famer
in your heart.
in my heart.
He's one of your like top 3, right? Top 5?
Top 10. I'll go top 10.
Top 10, yeah. You're a bigger Jerry Lynn
I
fan
haven't
than
got to
most
see a
people.
whole lot of him, but the matches that I have seen of him, he's amazing. Like, you guys are going to love Jerry Lynn by the time we're done with ECW.
He's an underappreciated guy, which there's a lot of in wrestling, but it seems like a lot of people eventually get their due. And maybe Jerry Lynn hasn't.
No. I mean, he's your favorite wrestler's favorite wrestler.
Yeah.
He's that kind of guy.
Yeah. So I'm primed for it. My favorite band is everybody's favorite band's favorite band, so it makes sense.
Yeah. So last time we saw the original Shiek was at Night the Line Was Crossed, all the way back in episode 111. He teamed up with Pat, Orient Express. Pat Tanaka. Thank you.
Okay, I was like, wait, no, that was, I was thinking of...
In one of those 5-minute schmoz ECW matches that we used to get.
Yeah. I got my guys with swords mixed up because I was thinking...
Yeah, that was Tiger Ali.
Yeah, I was thinking of Jeet and Ali.
Is that where they shot a fireball or...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that one was in Japan.
Okay.
So Sabu slides into the ring to attack, but JL responds with an enziguri that sends the Arabian out to the floor.
Also, is this our first Sabu in WCW?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, we saw the promo for him coming on the first Nitro, but this is our first match of him
in WCW. I'd imagine maybe the last, but we'll find out.
Mr. JL falls out only to be run into the guardrail, followed by Sabu hitting an Asai moonsault, which takes out the Shiek as well. Jerry Lynn fights back to send Sabu into a guardrail, followed by a top rope crossbody. Back in the ring, Sabu sends Mr. JL to the corner, charging in only to leapfrog up to the ropes, coming off with a moonsault that JL avoids. Mr. JL then climbs to the top rope, coming off with a moonsault of his own for a 2 count. JL continues with a sit-out powerbomb for a near fall, but then misses a corner charge, allowing Sabu to deliver a slingshot senton for a 2 count. Sabu climbs the ropes, but Mr. JL grabs him for a German suplex and heads up top himself, only for Sabu to recover to punch him and climb up to nail a victory roll for a near fall.
I mean, you go to the top. Now I'm going to go to the top. You're going to go to the top. I'm going to whip you. You're going to move. You're going to go to the top. And now I'm going to go to the top. This is like somewhere between ECW and Best of the Super Juniors or Super J Cup. It's very funny.
So you don't know what happens next?
I'd love to know.
Sabu goes to the top again. Only for JL to hit a springboard dropkick to send the Arabian out to the floor. Sabu climbs up to the apron, yanking Mr. JL throat first across the ropes, before delivering a split-legged moonsault for the pin and the win. And then all of a sudden, the Shiek throws a fireball at Mr. JL. Because that's what the original Shiek does.
He's like, I'll show up for the money, but can I throw a
Shiek
fireball in my
Sheiks
hometown? I haven't done it in a while. Not at least in front of anybody. Very ECW meets BOSJ, but like very, of course, not nearly as violent, but it's like, all right, well, most best of the Super Juniors, like, well, we slow this down, and it ends with us kind of more dramatically trading these top rope moves.
Matthew has an announcement.
So this would be the last time
oh my gosh.
we see Sabu in a WCW ring. It would also be the last time the Shiek would ever be seen, as on that moonsault that clipped him, he broke his leg and would have to retire from in-ring competition.
Damn.
Oh, poor guy.
Well, I mean...
Because he wasn't expecting it.
Sabu.
He
did it.
Yeah.
Took out his own... Whatever, uncle.
Yeah, it's his actual uncle.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I guess I would have to assume this is before him and Sabu basically burned themselves alive in FMW, or did he...
That was the last time the original Shiek ever did anything wrestling-wise.
Okay, so I know the FMW thing where he got, like, burnt to a crisp because they just lit the ring on fire and it went up fast.
So it must have been before
that, yeah. It's a dark side of the ring app.
That's why he had to come up and throw that one last fireball just because something to remember you by.
Mm-hmm.
Tony then recaps the Giants' appearance, such as throwing Andre's shirt at Hulk and choking Hogan in the Dungeon's cave, before sending us to the stage, where the Master is in the arena with the Taskmaster at his side.
Did you write all of this down?
Screaming nonsense about the moon and the stars. And there will be a total eclipse.
I wrote it all down. I will not be reading it. I don't know why I did it.
I don't know why you did it.
It goes like...
It goes forever.
It's like a full page and maybe like a page and
Did any of it make sense? Like, after you wrote it down and read it back? Because it didn't make sense as he was saying it to me, but I wasn't for sure if I was hearing him right.
They said everything really slow, and I was like, damn, they remembered all of this? I'll just say the last line, I guess. Lightning does not strike twice in this universe. But they said it probably took like 30 seconds. There's lots of pauses. Lots of Hogans.
Father!
The Master continues by saying Sullivan will walk upon the galaxies because of the Giant and the insurance policy. The Taskmaster then claims Hogan's evil is out of control because he wears black and that their monster truck is the strongest. Sullivan then continues with saying that Hulk has no friends. Sting, Savage, and Luger are all vultures clicking at his heels. Which technically they should be because he's the fucking champion.
Yeah.
Like, everybody should want the belt.
Also, I love that it's like when most people have turned evil or whatever, it's like, well, they grow a mustache. Hogan, he starts wearing black and loses the mustache.
Well, he didn't lose it on purpose.
He didn't lose it on purpose.
They stole his stash.
It's just an inverse, like Spock.
We go to Mean Gene in the locker room with an array of guests. Okerlund first asked for an interpretation of that promo, and I can't help you, Mean Gene, at all.
Michael just tried to.
He said lots of lightning in galaxies. Vultures clicking at the heel was probably the most important thing in it, if any of it was important at all.
The insurance policy was probably the most important part.
Very bizarre that they even say insurance policy when he's like sitting on a frost throne.
Okerlund then introduces his guests. And there's Mike Hill, who won the Harley-Davidson contest on the first Nitro, if y'all remember.
Oh, wow, yeah, this is another great promo.
He's there with his wife to collect his prize. Tony and Doris from Carlini's Harley-Davidson. And, of course, Hulk Hogan and Jimmy Hart, who are in all black. The Hulkster says Maniac Mike inspires him. calls Tony Carlini Cadillac Jack, threatening to twist his arm to get more chrome on his bike. Doris then presents the Hills with some merch before inviting them to the store in California for other extras.
It's like you want to go halfway across the country.
I mean, I don't know where
old Mike Hill lives.
I don't know where Mike. I think he was from Alabama.
Yeah, sounds right. Let's,
if I remember correctly from the first Nitro.
Drive that
Don't hold me
bike.
to that one.
Yeah.
Well, no, I think you're right because I want to say he says something about driving that motorcycle home to Alabama or something like that. Yeah.
Mean Gene then reminds Hogan about his motorcycle, with Hulk lamenting the loss and touching the seat of Mike's motorcycle that's sitting there, saying it's the only thing he will touch lightly tonight.
Ew.
Exactly.
Wow.
Well, there was Mean Gene also has a very hitting on Doris line as well. I don't remember what it was.
I don't know if I have it.
But Hogan goes on by saying he's going to lay the giant next to his father in Detroit.
Disrespectful.
I know, this whole Andre business.
Wait, Andre's buried in Detroit?
I mean, that's where he got body slammed.
Oh, that's true.
Call back. I'll give him 1 point for the callback.
Yeah, the shirt thing was silly, but whatever.
We then get an ad for the next event, World War III. And Tony explains that it will be a 3-ring, 60-man battle royal.
Oh, brother.
My stomach turned as my eyes rolled.
And the winner will receive a title shot. The Brain then mocks Mike Hill about living in a trailer park, but he flubs his line, so Shivani makes fun of him, which I thought was funny as well.
Yeah, the motorcycle looked nice in that trailer.
3 rings, 60-man battle royal.
With one giant in each ring, by the way.
Who will the giant be in each ring?
I mean, one of them's probably the giant.
It's a good possibility.
I don't know what other giants we have, really.
I'm sure Van Hammer will be around.
One might be making his
Debut?
debut later.
All right. I mean, we always need a promotion with 3 giants.
Oh, of course.
That's how that works.
So we go to our 5th match. Meng with the Taskmaster Kevin Sullivan versus the Total Package Lex Luger. And Tony tells us that Meng had attacked Shark during a match with Luger, which fueled speculation that Lex was working with the Dungeon, because Shark at one point was in the Dungeon.
Meng at one point was in the Dungeon.
Meng's in the Dungeon. Who knows?
Yeah, Dungeon.
A shark attack, huh? Poor thing.
Luger attacks first, slamming Meng's head into a turnbuckle many, many times.
8 times, I counted it.
So it actually works. Before they start running the ropes, only for Lex to work his way into catapulting Meng into another turnbuckle. After a rake of the eyes on the ropes by Luger, Meng responds with kicks and turnbuckle smashes of his own, before grabbing a small package for a 2 count. Meng keeps up the punishment until he charges into a big boot in the corner, followed by a Lex clothesline that sends him out to the floor.
He's got that steel in his elbow.
Luger follows out and shoves Meng into the ring post, before beginning to work the arm,
Posted.
slamming it on the post and the ropes.
Double posted.
Meng then answers with chops and biting, avoiding a corner charge and countering a back suplex to land on top for a near fall.
Hogan. Meng is a heel, so he bit him.
Meng then nails Lex with a shoulder breaker and a pile driver before starting to wear him down with multiple holds and chokes until they collide on stereo crossbodies with Luger on top for a 2 count. Meng then recovers to deliver a back suplex for a near fall before tossing Lex out to the floor, where the Taskmaster doesn't attack but seems to be talking to Lex.
I know. Taskmaster is. We've got kind of like the doll cam in the first one, keeping an eye on old K-Soul.
Back in the ring, Meng keeps up the attack with kicks and forearms, only to miss a drop kick, allowing Luger to back body drop Meng out to the floor. Meng is then right back up to the apron, where the 2 men fight over a suplex with Lex winning, bringing Meng in the hard way. Luger continues to fire up with several clotheslines, a back body drop, and a power slam before calling for the torture rack, which allows Meng to grab a golden spike from his boot. Meng nails Lex in the throat with the spike and covers him for the pin. And no! Sullivan jumps in the ring and lightly taps Luger with his boot. So the ref calls for the disqualification.
Yeah.
Post-match,
Golden Spike.
Meng is confused, along with the rest of us.
Yep.
The Master tries to smooth things over.
Shoving Sullivan, but the Taskmaster explains they want Savage and Luger to fight, with even the brain saying it doesn't make any sense. And when Bobby says it doesn't make any sense.
Especially about some heel stuff. He doesn't even try to smooth it over. This match gets the Golden Spike Award.
I was going to try and think of something to say also, but I'm just going to take another bite of my sandwich because that match just doesn't deserve my award.
Yep.
We're back in the locker room. His Mean Gene's there with the Giant in a jumpsuit. And Okerlund talks about the monster truck match and the weight of the trucks before asking for the Giant's thoughts. And he just grabs Mean Gene's hand to pull the mic closer, causing Okerlund to cry out in pain. Giant's hands are like... Giant? Yeah. Exactly.
Oh, the Mean says, he's like, I'll hold it or you will.
Giant says if Hogan has the guts and heart to show up, he'll push him off the roof. And then whatever's left can just hand him the title. Push him off the roof.
There's nothing left.
Nothing is left.
Yep.
Mean Gene then changes the subject to the title match, with the Giant saying Hulk is going to get the beating of his life if he lives. Before screaming, WCW Heavyweight Championship on the belt! Hogan, you're mine!
He's a talker.
WCW Heavyweight Championship on the belt.
On the belt.
Hey, he's a rookie, I guess.
That takes us to our sixth match. The Enforcer, Arn Anderson, and Flyin, Brian Pillman, versus Sting and the Nature Boy, Ric Flair.
Woohoo!
I mean, I think we earned it.
Yeah. I mean, anytime the four of these guys step in the ring, either together or individually as, one-on-one, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, if the worst one, or worst, it may not be the right way to put it.
I was going to say, which is the worst of
If
them?
the least talented wrestler in the ring is Sting, at
The
least
only one with the belt?
I don't mind calling Sting a wrestler.
Well, you were allowed to call them wrestlers back then. It was okay.
Yeah.
So Double A and Pillman come out throwing up the 4 hand sign, while fans are throwing trash at them.
Yeah, they were.
Including a piece just hitting the Enforcer right on the chin, but he doesn't even flinch.
No, because
He just wipes it away and keeps on walking.
We love him. I mean, and him and Pillman look nice together. It's like Big Bear and Baby Bear.
The Stinger comes out alone, as Tony tells us that the Nature Boy is still receiving medical help. Because remember, he got beat up.
That's right.
Before the show.
Oh,
They told us that.
They didn't show it, though.
No, they did not. Sting has to fend off some double teaming to start, forcing them out to the floor to regroup, where Flying Brian just yells at the cameraman.
We want Flair. The crowd is hot for Ric Flair, and they go in and out of that chant consistently.
The Stinger evades them and takes them down once more with face plants, right hands, and chops to force them out to the floor again.
We want Flair.
Pillman enters the match and slaps Sting, before luring him out to the floor, where Anderson tries for a clothesline, only for the Stinger to duck and retaliate with clotheslines to both men. Back in the ring, Brian tries a different tactic, going for a handshake, but Sting just boots him in the gut and nails a press slam. Arn comes in looking to take control, only for the Stinger to reverse a piledriver attempt into a catapult that sends Double A into Pillman on the turnbuckle. Sting then launches Flying Brian off the ropes into the guardrail, before returning to deliver right hands to Anderson, but the Enforcer recovers by ramming the Stinger's head into Pillman's, the old
Hey.
double noggin knocker. Double A then takes control with a shot to the gut, when Flair all of a sudden runs into the ring in street clothes and his head all bandaged up.
I mean, huge pop.
He's going after Arn, but the ref stops him and forces him into a corner.
Rude.
Anderson tosses Sting out to the floor where Bryan can work him over by sending him into the guardrail. Before back in the ring, Pillman and the Enforcer just continue to double team the Stinger, while the Nature Boy is forced to look on, itching to get into the fight. After a double-A body slam, they attempt a rocket launcher, only for Sting to get his knees up and starts to make the crawl, only for Anderson to cut off the tag attempt with a back suplex for a 2 count. Arn goes into a knuckle lock, trying for the pump splash, but the Stinger gets his knees up again, making that crawl once more, but this time Flyin Bryan distracts Nate, causing him to leave the apron and chase after him, allowing the Enforcer to pull Sting back to the corner, where he locks on a leverage-aided ab stretch.
They are doing a beautiful job of milking the hot tag because people were hot for Flair. Flair didn't even come out. Flair's here now, and Sting has taken too many blows by the time Rick gets there. And since Rick is the face, he's staying in the corner. And what a way to bring excitement to a fever pitch, the way the whole purpose of wrestling, and spoiler alert, that it's predetermined for this purpose. People should remember that.
Don't you steal my fun.
No, that they should remember that you're supposed to get, the whole idea is that you can get the best
drama
reaction.
builds.
The drama builds.
Pillman with a face plant, rubbing Sting's face into the mat, hits some chops before applying a leverage-aided half crab. More double teaming and holds when the Stinger looks to rally, only for Double A to cut him off with a spine buster for a near fall. They go to work on the leg of Sting with Flair screaming at him to stand tall when the Stinger would fire up to nail a double noggin knocker, allowing him to make his way to the corner for the hot tag. The Nature Boy jumps in the ring,
Woo!
does some strutting,
Yeah.
and then turns and punches Sting right in the face.
Woo!
My God, how did you punch? Did you love that moment?
Swerve.
All 3 men then proceed to attack the Stinger, and the ref calls for the bell.
Hell yes.
Post-match, Sting fights valiantly, but the numbers game is not on his side, as Arn holds him while Pillman and Flair throw chops and punches.
I mean, there may be 3 men on Sting, but Pillman is holding up 4 fingers.
Nate rips the tape off of his head, as it was all a ruse. And the refs try to stop him, but they get attacked as well. Mean Gene's in the aisle, calling what we just saw disgusting, but not enough to not plug the hotline, with Road Warrior Hawk and Mike Tenay on the phone right now. He then stops the Nature Boy, Anderson, and Flyin Bryan for a word. And Nate says, it's time to go to school. You don't jump on Double A. You don't play around with Flyin Bryan. You never mess around with the Nature Boy. And you don't walk, talk, or breathe unless the Horsemen want you to. Anderson then chimes in to be careful what you wish for, calling the fans bloodthirsty for wanting this. Flair then ends it all by saying, reunited and it feels so good.
I mean, come
Horseman
on.
style.
Come on. It's so... The Dungeon of Doom was completely neutered here.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, that's your heel faction. It's like, we just had a incredible Horseman angle that did everything that wrestling is supposed to do in the like most textbook of way. It's like, it's so good. I love that Arn says, like, you know, all you bloodthirsty fans asked for this. Well, you got it, and now you got to deal with it. And I was like, fuck yes. I'm so happy to deal with this.
Tony wonders how long this plan was in effect, with the brain just laughing about it.
I mean, if you think we were excited about it, how do you think Bobby felt? This is like the closest thing to wrestling he's seen in a while.
We then go to Mike Tenay in the locker room with Lex Luger. And Lex says things are perplexing about the situation.
Perplexing?
I know, I was surprised at how big of a word he used as well.
It's just funny that, the perplexing Lex Luger.
Learned some new words up north, didn't he?
But he believes that forces want his match with Savage to happen. He doesn't know if he's 100%, but he promises to be all over Macho Man. Before reiterating, he came to WCW to be a world champion. Luger continues by saying this is the biggest match of Savage's career, and the total package gets what he wants. And tonight that is to take Macho apart, piece by piece.
Oh, Lex, I've got some matches I need you to watch.
He's going to snap into him like a Slim Jim.
We go back to Shivani and Bobby talking about the monster truck match before throwing it to a video package, where we get clips of the Giant destroying a toy monster truck before throwing his father's shirt at Hogan. It was then revealed that the Giant was part of the Dungeon of Doom as he came out of the wall at Mount Doom, with Hulk being attacked. We get footage from Fall Brawl where the Giant would run over Hogan's Harley Davidson with a monster truck and snapping his neck at the end of the night. And Michael called this on Fall Brawl. The Hulk he did a neck brace gimmick there for a couple weeks, vowing to get revenge by building his own monster truck. We then see the path of destruction that the Giant took on Nitro, even going as far to shave the Hulkster's mustache.
I know, I wish his mustache was like, why can't I think of it? The guy's hair. You know, is it a Greek thing?
The what?
I have no clue where you're going.
Yeah,
the guy's hair.
It's like some like old mythology. His strength was in his hair.
Hercules?
Is it Hercules in his hair?
Or Samson.
Samson. That's the Bible.
Bible.
Mythology.
Yeah,
For some people.
I hear Samson and I think of Half-Baked.
That's what I heard too.
I want to talk to Samson!
That's exactly what I heard when Matt said so.
Hogan would then return in black the next week, with the Dungeon of Doom being barred from the arena. Then this last week at Mount Doom, the Master would call forth his insurance policy, the Yeti, who was in a block of ice.
Yeti!
We then see the Giant chokeslam Luger and Sting, but Hulk would smash his face into a turnbuckle to slow him down. We then would see the Yeti actually break out of his block of ice before we see the monster trucks being built. We then have graphics of the truck morph into pictures of our competitors.
It's like, Animorph style. Remember those books?
We then return to the announce booth where Eric Bischoff and Bob Chandler, the creator of Bigfoot, have joined Heenan. And Chandler says he built Hogan's truck, it has a racing engine, and runs on alcohol. And they start to get into a bunch of technical terms that no one really cares about because it's time for our 7th match. Hulk Hogan versus the Giant in a monster truck sumo match.
Bum, bum, bum. The trucks have 1,500 horsepower, and each wheel weighs 1,000 pounds. That was some of the technical stuff. They said some other things, too.
Total weights are like 10 or 15,000 pounds.
Yeah.
They run on alcohol. They get too close or something, they'll explode.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what you're telling me is Bobby Heenan is a monster truck.
Yeah.
So a guy with a mullet, who was actually the stunt coordinator, Ellis Edwards, gives the rules of the match. Winner must push the other truck out of the circle with both axles crossing the plane. There are also charges surrounding the circle and will explode if touched. And if they don't disable the truck, keep on trucking.
It's basically like it on top of a building, like where a helicopter would. It's like a helipad with cones and monster trucks.
Yeah, it was on top of the building that was next door to the Joe Louis Arena.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of the building. I believe, is it the building that WrestleMania?
No.
It's not the Pontiac Silverdome.
It's not the Silverdome. Okay.
So Hogan and the Giant start yelling at each other before they enter their trucks, while a welder locks the trucks together, which I was like, this is the quickest welding job ever.
Oh yeah, he just makes some sparks. It was just probably a chain and some industrial strength carabiners or whatever.
I mean, I'll just tell you guys right now, this was actually filmed the night before.
Yeah.
So it's all cinematic match.
I mean, I could tell that at the beginning where they showed them like in the truck and like the reactions and movements, because I believe they get reused again here.
Same thing with Hogan.
Yeah,
same scene.
The two trucks start to push back and forth as we see our competitors driving, but you can actually see the real drivers in the wide shots. Bischoff keeps implying that someone might fall off the roof. But if you look at how it's laid out, like, no one is going to fall off this roof.
I mean, it does
unless they
seem
just like get stuck in like they can't.
They get stuck in neutral and someone just
doesn't work all of a sudden. I'm like,
I mean, it does seem like one side's kind of like close or whatever, but I mean, obviously, you know.
Chandler says
running trucks like this.
Chandler says he expects Hogan to be slow as the Bryan jumps in with, we always expect him to be slow, and he never lets us down.
That's my dude.
Mm-hmm.
The Hulkster's back axle breaks the plane finally, but it was only one. It wasn't both.
It was just the boot.
It's not enough.
The monster truck booty.
It's like one foot hit the floor, but you need both of them in this rumble.
The Giant then pushes Hogan into a charge with fireworks exploding. But Hulk rallies to push the Giant out of the circle. Post-match, the Giant exits his truck and chases Hogan to the edge of the roof. They trade strikes when the Giant begins to choke Hulk as they inch closer and closer to the edge. Hogan breaks the grip, which causes the Giant to stumble and fall over the ledge.
And then we get a nice shot of the lake.
The Hulkster panics, because he just killed a man, and runs off for help as everybody is shocked.
Get help! I didn't mean to do that, dude.
Hogan... Heenan asks if it was the parking lot or Riverside that he fell off, with Eric saying it doesn't matter, before Bischoff leaves to handle the situation.
Bobby does such a great job of being concerned. He does not shut up for the rest of the show about, somebody give me some answers.
Yeah.
Nobody's got a phone. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
That's when I realized that Tony, he just didn't give a fuck anymore, because his expressions throughout the rest of it was just like, whatever.
I mean, Tony, never the greatest commentator. He's best with a microphone in his hand, but...
What do you expect me to do?
For interview stuff, but he's no Mean Gene.
No.
And he can be fun with Bobby when he needs to be, but Tony Schiavone's not a top 5 wrestling commentator. We love him because he's Tony Schiavone.
Yep.
We go to our 8th match. The Total Package Lex Luger versus Macho Man Randy Savage. And Schiavone returns to the announce booth, saying they might not have a title match, with Bobby still freaking out, demanding to know what happened.
I mean, the Giant's probably dead.
Lex offers a handshake, but Macho refuses and attacks, slamming Luger's head into the turnbuckle before whipping him into a corner, only for Lex to bounce out with a clothesline. Luger with turnbuckle smashes when Jimmy Hart makes his way to the ringside, with Lex keeping up the attack with stomps and chokes, dazing Savage, causing him to swing at the ref accidentally. Lex then sends Macho out to the floor, where he follows out with a double axe handle from the apron, looks to ram him into the guardrail, only for Savage to reverse, before also sending Luger into the steel steps and the guardrail several more times. Back in the ring, Macho with a clothesline, before coming off the top rope with a double axe handle, only for Lex to catch him with a shot to the gut on the way down. Hart then jumps on the apron to distract the ref, while Savage reverses an Irish whip, followed by running into a knee in the corner, allowing Luger to make a leverage-aided pin, but the ref is still distracted. Lex then goes to send Macho to the ropes, but it's reversed with Lex being sent right into Jimmy Hart, knocking them both down, followed by Savage coming off the top with a flying elbow for the pin and the win.
The crowd is confused, and I don't know if they're just like annoyed at the stupidity of the monster truck angle, or
Well,
they're
in shock. They're grieving.
or they're actually in shock, but they really don't seem to care about anything at this point. And can you blame them?
I mean, this is another one of who do they cheer for?
I mean, very good point.
Because they're both faces.
At the moment, yeah.
But also, I don't want to bring up Owen Hart dying at a wrestling, but something traumatic just happened. Are you just supposed to, like, keep going and be like...
Yeah. And then you're followed up by a face match where there's no turn. So it's like, oh, if there was a turn, maybe, but it's like, how many things are we going to do?
Jimmy Hart coming out, like...
Just it's supposed to like confuse, I guess, the situation, and it
did.
It really does. The best part about this match was Bobby Distraught says, "How can I do Nitro tomorrow?" And Eric Bischoff says, "Well, you have to, Brain. It's your job." It's just like, come on, man. He's distraught.
Tony starts talking about the main event, and the Brain just wants answers, so he starts to leave, but then returns. And he goes on a rant about how he can't get answers with all the phones and walkie-talkies. He says he goes way back with the Giant's father, accuses Hogan of faking concern, and just begging for any information.
Yeah, Tony's like, well, he fell 5 stories. And it's like, you're not being very comforting to your friend Bobby the Brain Heenan.
No. Just get over it, Bobby. Just shake it off.
Mm-hmm. But Bobby seems to be the only person that's like trying to put this over in any way at all.
Well, I mean, he was great friends with
Andre,
with his father, and he probably knew him since he was knee high at 6 months old.
These guys like at least be worried about a athlete in their company dying? Because even if this is wrestling, it's still a
coworker,
coworker, and somebody that's contracted to your sport company.
So that leads us right into our 9th match.
Let's get there.
Hulk Hogan with Jimmy Hart versus the Giant with the Taskmaster Kevin Sullivan for the WCW World Heavyweight Championship.
Michael Buffer's here.
He makes those introductions, introducing the Giant first, but the Hulkster enters instead.
Uh-oh.
So the champion came out first. Foreshadowing.
Hogan in black. I'm just so ready.
Well, that's what I thought when I first saw him was, is this the same thing he wears when they actually do?
It is the exact same. The only difference when he comes back, well, maybe the belt, but he also has the black beard.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but like
spray painted on beard.
It's just funny that this feels like a test run for like his heel turn. It's like, oh well, I guess when we do, we'll spend Voodoo Child money. I don't know.
Hogan takes the mic, saying what happened was an accident, and he apologizes. Hulk continues to ramble when the Dungeon of Doom music hits, and the Giant emerges without a scratch.
What?
Not even wet. So he must have fallen on the parking lot side of the building.
Mm-hmm.
He's got those cat-like reflexes. He
maybe
just landed on his feet.
Yeah, maybe the shark shot out of the water and caught him gently in his teeth.
He's a shark!
I don't know.
Hogan is shocked and he bails out to the floor. But once he returns, he takes his bandana off to reveal his forehead is painted with the Taskmaster's markings.
And I seriously think this
I
was watching this and I just took off my glasses and threw them on the couch.
Just wiped your brow in frustration. I was like, are they really going to do a heel turn? It's like, I know they're not doing a heel turn.
I really feel like we should just take a picture of my face because this is, I think, the way we all feel right now.
Yeah,
I mean, hold that. We'll put it on the Twitters.
Mm-hmm, we can, what we should do is...
portrait mode.
Use your
let's get the full on.
Use your edit.
There we go.
Your photo edit and draw on the Taskmaster markings to match.
But the Hulkster starts laying it in with right hands, but he can't take down the Giant. So he tries for a body slam.
He's like
to no avail.
I threw the man off the building. I guess he survived. First thing I should do is hit him.
Pick him up and slam him 2 feet down because 75, however many feet he fell, didn't do anything.
5 stories.
5 stories. That's all right.
Yeah.
The Giant responds by attacking Hogan's back, whipping him around the ring, hitting big boots and chops. Hulk then places the giant's hand on his throat for a choke. Y'all saw that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Continues with more chokes before they go to a test of strength.
Oh, brother.
It went from horsepower to horsepower of strength, an HOS to a TOS.
The giant controls it when Hogan fires up, only for the big man to kick him down. The giant continues the punishment with a back elbow, a body slam, and goes for a leg drop, only for the Hulkster to avoid. Hogan with turnbuckle smashes in multiple corners before a 10 count of punches, some back rakes, and several clotheslines that send the giant out to the floor. The Taskmaster leads the giant back down the aisle, which I'm just like, you survived a 5-story fall, but now like some back rakes are going to cause you to leave this match?
A back rakes and an eye poke.
With gloves on your hands, so there's not even a scratch. You're just getting like soft cotton rubbed on your back.
He just scratched your back.
Hulk catches up with him, hits a noggin to belly knocker, because, Taskmaster.
He's a little
short,
guy.
Giant, real big.
About as thick.
Before eye raking and throwing the big man back into the ring. Hogan continues with throat thrusts, right hands, shoulder blocks, but still it's not taking the giant down. So the big man counters with a backbreaker and locks on a bear hug.
I mean, we don't love bear hugs here, but
No.
you gotta delete.
I do not love them here. I do not love them there. I do not love them anywhere.
If you're gonna do it, you gotta sell it. You gotta, and this just looks like
This guy got to do to get a trap hold around here.
It just looks like somebody holding up their drunk friend.
Mm-hmm.
The Hulkster punches his way free, only for the giant to body slam and go right back to the bear hug.
Woo! Back-to-back bear hugs. Let's make it 3. Come on, you can do this. 3 in a row.
Hulk escapes again, only to walk right into a chokeslam for the pin, and no! Hogan kicks out and starts to Hulk up.
Wow.
Finger point, right hands, big boot, body slam, leg drop, cover, and Jimmy Hart nails the ref with the belt. Hogan doesn't see this, so Hogan turns around and tells Jimmy to help the ref up. But then Jimmy hits Hulk with the title belt as well, only for Hogan to no-sell it and start attacking Hart.
You!
So we tease Hogan heel turn.
And we get a
That
Jimmy
hard.
Hart heel
And
turn.
we get a Jimmy Hart heel turn. It's almost like they pulled the rug out from under us.
Surely, Jimmy.
Oh.
Are you the insurance policy or whatever?
The giant grabs the Hulkster, putting him into another bear hug.
He's not the insurance
There's
policy,
my third bear hug.
but he is on the payroll.
With the Taskmaster getting some shots in as well, while Hart calls for reinforcements. Savage and Luger both run down, only for Jimmy to hit Macho with the belt as well. Then the Yeti comes stumbling his way down to the ring.
By the way, the crowd's going pretty wild. And then the Yeti comes out. I don't know what they're going wild about, but they're going wild.
Because Savage just ran down.
Yeah, but I mean, Jimmy Hart.
You finally have somebody you can cheer about in this fucking match. You got Savage.
It's the first time. I mean, this Jimmy Hart probably hasn't been a heel in a decade.
Not since before WrestleMania 9.
But if you have no clue what the Yeti looks like, he looks like a mummy.
Yeah, he is a mediocre mummy costume. Maybe not Angel Soft, but maybe Shawnman.
He climbs in and joins the giant in a double bear hug of Hulk.
Yeah.
Basically looking like he's dry humping him. All while Lex has started attacking Savage as well. Luger tells the Yeti to quit doing what he's doing because he realizes that it looks stupid. Luger then lifts Hogan up into a torture rack.
That's what looks stupid.
I mean, it's stupid plus stupid. Still stupid.
Followed by the giant and the Yeti doing their double bear hug to Macho. Before Lex tells him again, quit doing that.
It is dumb.
And Luger then lifts Savage up into a torture rack. The ref is finally back to his feet, and he calls for the bell and the disqualification.
Bobby Heenan yells, "You'll never see a pay-per-view like this again!"
Please,
And
I hope
I'm
not.
like, oh, Bobby, you clever son of a bitch.
Post-match, the Giant grabs the belt away and begins to pose with it, even though the title cannot change hands on a disqualification.
And the crowd is upset. I don't know if they're upset at Jimmy Hart. I don't know if they're upset that they paid money for this, but they are throwing shit. Something we haven't seen in a while outside of ECW. ECW throws stuff because they're monsters. These people are throwing things either out of rage or disgust. Probably 50-50, depending on the age of the person that is in the building. Dad is disgusted, and the son is angry.
Jimmy Hart yells, "No more Hulkamania," as he leaves the ring with the rest of the Dungeon of Doom. Officials are checking on Hogan and Savage, all while Tony and Heenan recap the evening and promise answers on tomorrow night's Monday Night Nitro. Before saying goodnight, and we go to credits. So I got a couple fun notes here for us.
Bring it on.
The Yeti is
Yeti.
Ron Reese,
Who?
who might be known better as Reese, the big old huge enforcer guy that was in the Flock in a couple of years.
Okay. All right. Not super familiar with Reese.
It's not
When that's your biggest thing that you've ever done, you're not much.
I'd say I'm Reese before I'd say I'm Yeti.
There's a good chance that there's a Yeti action figure. Probably not a Reese one.
Oh, I hope not.
Also, the next night, it would be revealed that Jimmy Hart had put a clause in the contract that the title could change hands on a disqualification.
That's how you get it off of Hulk Hogan?
That is how you get it off of Hulk Hogan.
Gag me with a spoon.
But the Giant would be stripped of the title because it was Hart who had interfered.
Yeah.
Because he interfered on behalf
of the Giant.
Of the Giant. So technically,
nothing happened.
Hogan should technically still be the champion, but they gave it to the Giant and then took it away from him. So guess what's up for grabs at World War III, guys?
Hey, I wonder who wins World War III.
So, gentlemen, I ask you, what are your overall thoughts of Halloween Havoc 1995?
Some of it was fun, almost all of it was dumb, and it was pretty long. We all know what the best moments of the show are. It's also the hottest moment of the show. This happened. This happened.
Yep.
I don't know that it was it wasn't a boring watch because it was just everything was so stupid, but it was not as fun as other stupid things we've seen.
I'm going to jump in here because I disagree, because I literally... You turn your brain off on this one.
Yeah,
I'm looking for that text you sent me, too, because I was going to read that.
I took that one in with me.
Enjoy the show from minute one all the way to the dry humping. This show is just so ridiculous, and sometimes that can be a good thing, and in this instance, it was.
It worked. Yeah, you were in the zone for it. Sometimes you are.
It just worked for me.
You warned me, and in a way where you're just have fun with it. So it was not a chore because I was you primed me for it. But I was hoping for it to be a little bit more, even more. I mean, goofy,
literally,
which is saying a lot.
You have the first two matches, which the first match was pretty good. The second match is that Savage squash match,
which is kind of exciting because there's the fan thing.
But literally, then Mean Gene has that interview with Johnny B. Bad, and after the interview is over with, he calls him back and has him do this whole Greek food karaoke thing,
sing Tutti Frutti
and I was just
karaoke.
at that point I was just okay, that was weird.
And then
the show just that's where it went off the rails and it never got back on, and it just, like I said, it just gets so ridiculous.
Yeah, and the only thing that wasn't ridiculous was classic wrestling angle done kind of to a T.
Oh, I agree completely.
The Four Horsemen. That, like, beautiful. That is the shit that we kind of love the most, which is your classic. That's like Mid-South shit, right?
Yeah, I mean that's 70s.
That's just American wrestling.
That's classic tag team wrestling.
That's
right there.
classic like prime territory shit.
Shane, how about you?
Yeah. Started off decent with the DDP Johnny B. Bad match. That one went a little bit longer than I thought it should, but I wasn't mad about it. I liked the Zodiac squash because it was a stupid character with a pointless wrestler trying to just get a paycheck that shouldn't even fucking be there in the first place. And then, it was just up until you got to the Horseman Sting deal. Had fun with that, and then I don't watch sumo wrestling, but I think I would enjoy regular sumo wrestling a whole lot more than this monster truck bullshit.
That monster truck bullshit.
They just needed a name for it, but real sumo is great and very rewarding, but
that's just two cars going back and forth and being like, okay, now it's time. Like, that went for 5 minutes of them going back and forth.
You know what's kind of crazy is the thread of this show being like the Dungeon of Doom and then Macho and Lex and like starts at the second match, but nothing really gets tied together in any strong way, even though it all culminates to the last couple minutes of the show, but none of it feels very connected. The through line feels very broken to get to that. So like conceptually they're like trying to build this thing, but they do it so clumsily.
I've read reviews of this show, and basically some say that if you weren't watching Nitro, like if you didn't watch the Nitros leading up to this, that a lot of the storylines didn't make a whole lot of sense. I did my best to be able to give context.
Yeah, and we understood it through the show, but being excited for it is hard because it's like, oh well, we can't do that, and they just can't do that in one night. I saw what they were going for, but it felt disjointed. But it makes sense if they had to have been at least building this for a month.
Yeah, I mean at least since Fall Brawl.
Yeah. So I mean it's been going on for a while. It's just like, oh, I mean that's how you sell a pay-per-view.
Good. Where's the smart marks at? There. All right. Fuck you.
I think it's time we smark it up. So what are some of the best moments of this show? Macho's promo.
Yeah,
promo was great.
That was fun.
The Ric Flair turn.
I mean, that whole tag match is just so good because I was pumped because everyone else was pumped and they wanted Flair in there, and Flair came out late and he was in his dress clothes, and then he comes in and the crowd is so hot and so hot for him to be in there, and he just first thing he does is lays out Sting with like fucking closed fist punch, and it's just like perfect build. Like, and they didn't have to do that for 4 months. They did it in one night. It said Ric Flair got beat up earlier. The only thing they could have done better was show Ric Flair get beat or show him on the ground like grabbing his head or something. But we knew that, and then he didn't come out. So but that's the only thing they could have done to make this even more impactful. And I don't even think it was necessary because this is the kind of shit is if we're not gonna have like fucking wrestling matches, just like straight wrestling matches, like a babyface heel. If we're gonna do fucking angles all goddamn night, this is how you do an angle. This is fucking textbook.
Johnny B. Bad's Scooby-Doo moment.
I loved it too. That was fun. Like I said, there is a bunch of goof nuggets.
That's the thing. I like most times there are like a couple really good moments, but a lot of just like I think this show just has a lot of high-end moments.
It's like,
but like overall, it's stupidity.
It's like a bunch of like the best scene from a bad movie that you're like laughing at kind of thing, where it's like, oh
yeah, this is the Troll 2.
Good point.
This is the Troll 2 of wrestling pay-per-views.
Great way to put it, Matt. That is really good. I mean, the 10-minute Taskmaster.
Is this like the Vegas vacation then?
Sure.
And what's his name? Taskmaster and
the Bastard.
Yeah, and the Master. It's like
Yeah, that whole promo, like
forever long.
what?
Yeah.
Okay.
You could just play that to somebody out of context, and they would scratch their head and probably giggle.
I mean,
Yep.
I obviously loved seeing Jerry Lynn show up.
I mean, that match
Because
was
that was actually
fun.
a really fun. Yeah, it's your glimpse into what WCW is going to do with their cruiserweights.
Yeah, it is. What?
And to think that
It's a I don't want to say spot monkey, but it's a spot.
yeah, it is. But here's the thing: this is Mr. JL and Sabu. The next time we have this kind of match, it's probably going to be Benoit and Guerrero,
Yeah,
Malenko and Guerrero,
And
Malenko and Benoit.
and they know how to work a match better than Sabu ever. Sabu can do some fun, and he's
Sabu
very compelling.
is compelling in spots.
Yes.
Yeah, he's
But
compelling in just energy and spots and
Successful spots.
yeah, and then those guys are fucking they're workers.
Yeah.
Sabu is a train wreck that we
We
love.
got to see a Spinebuster, guys.
We
That's
got to
always
see a
the-
Spinebuster.
That's one of the best moments.
And we
ever.
got to see a
Always.
spinebuster from Arn right before told the crowd, you're not always gonna like it what you ask
raising the
for.
fingers and just bringing it back.
Oh, dude, yeah,
Love it.
And leaving the show, I'm just like, who's the fourth man? Who's the fourth man? I want to know who the fourth man is.
I bet we find out pretty soon.
I know. I'm legitimately excited, and that was my biggest takeaway from this show was like, I need to know who number 4 is. But it's great that they set it up with 3. It's great that Pillman's there. Got your young guy, you got Ric Flair, and then you've got Arn, the enforcer.
Come on, Shane, you got one. I know you do.
We talking best moments still?
Yeah.
I've already said.
I mean, the best and the worst moments are pretty tied together. In a weird way.
Okay, well then we'll move on to
Yeah.
most disappointing moments.
Let's see if,
Yeti, Hogan, and Taskmaster.
yeah. I mean,
Makeup.
just the overall ending of the show, the sumo match.
How did you feel about the trash getting thrown into the ring? Did that put a smile on your face?
The sumo match is disappointing just because it was just like,
A waste of time.
yeah, we're wasting time on this. And then to have him fall off the building to then just like literally 15 minutes later show up.
Yep.
It was like, I know you were trying to build tension, but
You know what would have been great is if
is that the way to do
is
it?
if they did like a composite shot of the giant spinning on a green screen, but then they have him fall off of the side of the building, and then they do a shitty little fake splash into the water. I would have loved that.
Now, I may have misread this,
Like the guy falling
At
in
some
RoboCop.
but he actually did fall off the building.
Yeah. I
They had
read something.
like one of the big
Pads.
fireman pad things.
Oh wow!
So he literally fell the 5 stories
And they didn't
into
even-
one of those big
They
pad
didn't
things.
even get a shot from the side, not getting that would have been incredible. That's crazy that they would set all that up and not get a shot that's framed so they don't have the safety stuff. So you could just see a shot of him falling because you can tell if it's a dummy. It's not like they're not. It's not
Yeah,
like.
they definitely don't make dummies that big.
And it's like if you're gonna go that far to legitimately not even. You didn't even
Well,
try
literally,
movie
after
magic.
I-
You did actual.
when I actually read that,
stunt.
I was just like, this stunt coordinator needs to be fired. Like,
I think the
do
director
not-
needs to be fired for not getting
do
that
not
shot.
need to do this.
No,
No, I can't remember what it was, but I saw something
Off of
not
the
too long
building.
ago where
that's
it was,
insane. That makes me so mad that they didn't get that shot from the side.
It was old
Just
Paul
even if it
White
was out
talking
the
about
window.
how, I was younger, so
Yeah, it was a Paul White interview.
yeah,
or something
Hogan,
that I saw.
asked me. I was 21, 22, whatever. You want to just take the fall off? And sure, yeah.
I can't believe they didn't record it though. That
I guess
fucking makes
just
me
in case
so
it went
mad.
wrong, I don't know.
Still, I mean, Brandon Lee got
The
shot on fucking film.
Most disappointing thing for me on this show, other than the sumo
yeah,
monster truck, because that's definitely up there. Most disappointing actually is the running Macho, Luger, Jimmy Hart storyline. Like, it's too convoluted for it to make any sense. Overall, they get to the point where they're going with Luger joining the Dungeon of Doom.
Yeah.
At the end.
It's just...
But just getting there...
Poorly done.
Poorly.
That's what I was saying about it being so disjointed. It's like, that is the story of the show, but Four Horsemen did a perfect story in like 12 to 15 minutes.
Yeah.
That was actually hot. The crowd was hot as fuck.
And plus, I don't even know if they told Meng what was going on.
And I didn't even see it coming.
Yeah, these matches, I mean, I was happy with the Savage squashing Zodiac because Zodiac is a fucking pointless, stupid, ridiculous character. But I don't understand the point of having that match, the squash match, having the whatever the hell the Luger Meng match was, where nobody seemed to understand.
It was to plant that, like, is Luger with the Dungeon of Doom? Like I said, it was to continue that.
But they just didn't do it well.
They didn't do it well. And like I said, I don't even know if they told Meng what was going on because...
He sure said he wasn't working the angle.
No.
He was just having a half-ass match.
Yeah.
And we know Meng is a talented guy. We've seen him have, like, for a minute there, they were kind of putting Meng over as a badass.
Like, he
is a badass.
He is, yeah. I mean, he absolutely is.
He's
but
the
like,
only guy that old Giant's father was afraid of, apparently.
How about best performer of the night?
Bobby.
Yeah, I think it might be Bobby. If it's not Bobby, it's Ric Flair for...
Yeah. I would say Bobby, and then just the whole Horseman angle. It's like, well, they all did it to the best of their ability, but Flair got to do the promo, and then Arn caps it off with a "fuck you."
Yeah.
Yeah, what you want and what you get, are not always the same thing.
Yeah, Bobby was so good in this episode, though. Like
him.
I mean, I usually unless it's just like this really really good line, I don't write it down, and I think I had like three or four lines of Bobby's on this one. So later. I usually leave the commentary stuff to you guys. And
we had
Bobby
some in there
was
for
too
sure.
good.
I had like 4 or 5 potential nicknames for the show that were all Bobby lines.
I mean, that tells you how good he was in this one. How about most surprising? I mean, I'll admit, whenever I was first watching the show, when I found out Kurasawa was Nakanishi, I was like, oh
yeah,
cool. I mean, that's just because I like Nakanishi.
Yeah, I would say while watching it, it was the Ric Flair punch. I just should have seen it coming, didn't see it coming. And
then once the Kurasawa match ended, I was like, oh, Kurasawa won over Road Warrior.
Honestly, I already forgot about that because we're talking about everything that's not wrestling.
That match alone, the Kurasawa Road Warrior Hawk match, it is out of place on this show completely.
There's no reason for it to be.
There's no reason for it to be on the show other than Road Warrior Hawk is gonna get the pay-per-view payday.
Honestly, I guess there's 3 matches that don't have anything to do with this giant thread that they're doing the rest of the show, but that's pretty crazy that there's only 3 matches that don't have to do with this pretty poorly done angle. It's like the Jerry Lynn Sabu,
which that's my other
Paige
surprise. Yeah, I love seeing Jerry Lynn.
Yeah, Paige and Johnny B. Bad, and then
that's for a title, so it makes sense that it's on a pay-per-view.
And then the Horsemen are the only things that don't have to do with the Doom angle.
Yeah,
the doomed angle, if you will.
It's the way. Yep, doomed. Surprising.
Oh, but Bobby was like, "I'll never see a pay-per-view like this again." And I was like, "Hell yeah, Bobby, you clever son of a bitch." That's why you're the MVP here. And you even worked so hard to sell the Giants' death-defying stunt we didn't see. Can't believe you did that.
Surprising for me, it has really nothing to do with the show. It's the fact that even with the amount of weed that I smoked watching this show to make me enjoy it more, it just didn't help. I just wasn't a fan.
I couldn't turn my brain
afterwards.
Off. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But hey, it's Halloween Havoc. It's tradition. So
you wished that you were Abby in the electric chair before.
Yeah.
while you were watching this show.
Yeah. Because at least I'd have, Rick Steiner jumping somewhere nearby me. So.
And now for a look back even further into the history of wrestling.
The dusty finish.
Eastern Championship Wrestling had opened their doors in 1992 and would have a tournament for the NWA ECW Heavyweight Championship on April 25th. Jimmy Snuka would defeat Salvatore Balamo in the final to become the promotion's first champion. Jimmy Snuka, born 1943 in the British colony of Fiji, before moving to Hawaii, where he became active in bodybuilding, earning the title of Mr. Hawaii. Snuka would then opt to go into the more lucrative career of professional wrestling, making his debut in 1970. He would make his way to the NWA Pacific Northwest, where Jimmy would hold their top title 6 times, along with the tag belts 6 times as well. Snuka would then make his way from territory to territory, always making his way into different title scenes, such as the NWA World Tag Team and NWA United States Championships. By 1982, Jimmy had joined the WWF under the guidance of Captain Lou Albano. He would lose several title shots versus WWF champion Bob Backlund in his time as a heel. In 1983, Snuka would feud with Don Morocco, which would lead to the most famous Superfly splash of his career, when Jimmy would leap off the top of a 15-foot cage in Madison Square Garden. Snuka would move on to other promotions before returning to the WWF, where he would become the first victim of The Undertaker in his undefeated streak. For his accomplishments, Jimmy Snuka is a member of the Professional Wrestling and WWF Hall of Fames. But Snuka wouldn't have to wait long for a challenger to his ECW Heavyweight Championship, as he would have a title match the very next day.
Boom, boom, boom.
I forgot that Snuka was the first
I forgot
Undertaker
that
casualty.
I forgot he had to face old Big Sal to win it.
Oh, yeah.
We never saw that match.
Okay, yeah, we didn't see that one. We didn't see that. Okay.
Well, then there's a reason I forgot it, because I didn't see it.
Sal Blemabombo.
Who knew that Sal was
the
a
first ECW show we watched
heavyweight contender?
Yeah.
was like
The hand cam
was 1993.
Yeah, I believe so.
Was the first, like, their first show in 93. Like, they used to run shows at a sports bar, and I've seen some video of some of that stuff. And
rough.
Very rough.
I mean, yeah, like from, the 15-foot cage Superfly Splash is like the thing of legend. Nobody saw shit like that in like 82, and then Snuka's, wrestling in a bar. But he's also a murderer. You heard it here first, guys.
I'm sure this is probably not the first time.
I know. It was a joke.
Next week, we're headed to watch some hardcore TV.
Ooh.
So the episode we're going to watch is from October 31st, 1995. So you can catch that on the network.
Pre-Halloween Eve?
Well, 31st.
I mean, it's the 31st.
Oh, it's the 31st.
It's
Halloween.
Halloween. Yeah.
Extreme Halloween.
Anything but Havoc.
Yeah, please.
Music from this week's show is Fire and Brimstone by Chris Payne. And the Giant won the main event. Yeah. So we're going to play the Dungeon of Doom theme song. Written by Jimmy Hart.
He wrote that, huh?
That might be the worst Jimmy Hart song.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
If you like this episode or any of our other ones, please go out there and rate and review us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, or wherever you find your podcast at. Do as Michael says.
5 stars or no stars.
That's right. Just like this show. It's 5 stars.
It's either 5 stars or no stars. There's none for Shane. 5 for Matt. I'm sitting at like 3.8.
It's closer to 5.
Closer to 5, it is.
Yeah.
If you have any questions, comments, concerns,
Recipes.
You can always email us those at wrestlinghistoryx@gmail.com or find us on Twitter at WrestlingHistoX. That's Wrestling HISTO. We'll talk to you next week.
Later.